So let's go and take out these guys. What do you want to use, Josh? Guns? Okay. So we're using the guns. That's the yellow button, by the way. Pressing and holding down the yellow button aims. Oops. And firing quickly fires quickly. That's very, very similar to the swords. Pressing and holding down releases a big blow, and pressing down quickly just does little blows. You can combine these two together, so I can do sword, 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 and then gun. And we'll show you some of that now. So if we now go in here, this is what we call a crescendo combat, where the two of us, or crescendo combat works fully with co-op play. So we can focus on our combat styles. So we're both doing sword play now. I'll switch to guns. I'll kind of defend Josh while he uses his superior sword skills. The more skilled we are at something, the more experience we'll get. So if you see that I got more experience for that hit there. Oops, that was a bad camera angle. I got more experience for that hit there because I shot that creature as Josh was hitting him with the sword, and it's that sort of level of skill which we're really. Are you going to finish him off? No, let's do another wave. Okay, let's take these ones out. I'm doing all the work here, by the way. So that was the final shot that I got off with there. So you can see how really this dynamic co-oping is featuring into the combat as well. So if I've got a henchman and I work with my henchman, I can get more experience because of the variety of moves that we do together. And just blending together with swords and guns, and the last piece of combat, which is the red button, which is magic, which we're not showing at the moment, but you can blend those together in your different styles. And really the reason we're doing that is because the dream is, if we're both hardcore gamers, we're really going to get the most out of this. If we're both casual gamers, we'll just be hitting this button like this. We'll be button mashing, whether it be with guns or with swords. Now, allowing people to button mash is very important if you want to make a game that is going to appeal to a really broad audience. Anyway, let's go meet my family. This is my house where I moved my family into. I had to buy this house. I'm going up the property ladder because you can buy any house in the land, or any shop or any castle in the land. I'm gradually getting up the ladder. We started off at a little hovel in a city called Bowerstone. And my husband and 5-year-old child have been in this cottage now for about 6 months, and I haven't been home for about 6 months. So, it's going to be a bit of a tearful reunion. Let's go and see what actually happens. You can just see there's my son. This is all working under simulation, by the way. I can actually emote and say sorry to my child there. So that, he said, please come home. You're great, you're home. I want to be an adventurer like you. That's all triggered by simulation now. And that is going to pull at your heartstring if you haven't done that. Let's see how my husband reacts to me coming home. So you can hear he's a bit of a nag. And this is where the actual exploring with possibilities of Fable came out. Josh and I have been rehearsing this for a while now, and yesterday early afternoon, Josh found that he could do this. He could shoot my husband and orphan my child, and that's exactly because he's completely free to do that. This is all under simulation. This is not under script, and then he can laugh at it. And the final insult that he discovered today is he can then pick up the experience from shooting my husband. And it's that sort of freedom that we're offering. Fable 2 is different. It's a different game. It's going to be a different experience. You've never played co-op like this before. You've never played combat like this before. You've never played the story like this before, because of the freedom that it really offers you. And that freedom isn't restricted just to story bits. It's We've really focused on the freedom. The whole of the Fable 2 world is completely free roamable. So you're completely free to jump over those fences that you were constricted by in Fable 1. You can buy every single thing in the world, every single abode, every single shop, every single castle that you can get to in Fable 2. So we're thinking it's pretty cool. Any questions?
Yeah, how do you adjust the game based upon whether you're playing cooperatively or not? Because it seems like if you have the same number of enemies in each area and you have two people to kill those enemies, then it might become a little too easy.
Well, that's very interesting. We are dynamically looking at you and the way you play and the level that you are, and we're adjusting the difficulty around that. Now, what I don't want to do is make it exponentially harder for people who are coming in. So I think the traditional way is that co-op, if you've got someone co-oping, you increase the number of creatures carte blanche. We don't do that. We look at your level, we look at your henchman's level, and we compare the two, we sum the two eventually, and that gives us what the enemies should be that should be attacking. If you're particularly good at combat, both of you are good at combat, you'll find that combat's going to be a little bit more challenging. But I really want to make sure that experienced gamers can play with people who haven't played role-playing games before, or any sort of games before. That's why we've really paid attention to this camera. It's so important. A lot of people will actually end up doing, who play games like this, it's very hard for me to do this, but you know what I mean, is if you give them a controller, for inexperienced casual players will end up running against things like this for hours on end. And they'll feel frustrated. So we've really tried to balance this so that anybody can play this game. So the difficulty does change, but it doesn't get exponentially harder just because there's two of you.